At its core, UnWoke investing has the objective of putting power back into the hands of we the people. Like a lot of other initiatives right now, people are evaluating the abdication of our choices in life to other people. And we're sort of second guessing who we've given that trust to. Examples include public education, what I now call government schools, pharmaceutical, healthcare, nutrition, you name it. There's major, massive movement right now to take control back again. And the purpose and objective of UnWoke investing is to get power back to you, the individual. So it's free and open source. We're putting a lot of time and money and energy into just getting information out there that puts the spotlight on the woke investments, the managers who are being motivated to pump billions and trillions of dollars into far left agendas, and to arm you with information to figure out what's happening in your portfolio and to make choices that are unwoke. So hence the name UnWoke Investing. We're giving alternatives to the far left woke agenda that we believe are well suited to fight back against this globalist thing that's going on. So I want to talk just very briefly about what that looks like. Over time, we, the people, the investors, the consumers, have moved away from the idea of building our own portfolios and owning things like stocks and bonds and those sorts of things, and have migrated decidedly in the direction of using money managers. So for a long time, there wasn't a bad side to that. It was worthwhile to pay a little bit of ongoing money in the form of fees to a manager, and they would make those decisions for us. And so when you look at what I call pooled investments, those are mutual funds, exchange traded funds, collective investment trusts, unit investment trusts, sub accounts, which are parts of annuities, all those sorts of things are us, the individual, the consumer, giving trading authority, giving the authorization to a manager to make those buy and sell decisions for us. What we're seeing now with the introduction or the pushing of what's referred to as ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance. If you're not seeing it already in headlines and news, you will be soon, and you should look into it. It is a frightening mess. It's a monster. ESG is the Green New Deal sneaking in through the back door. It is communism masquerading as free markets. And what it's doing is changing everything about the way that managers look at the pros and cons of investing. So just a quick analogy. I brought this, I actually took it off of my car to use as a representative example, mainly just because it's the U.S. flag and I like to fly it and wave it. You can see this is getting some love, flies from our car window. But this is a little piece of plastic that clips into the window, and you can tighten it up and just drive around with your flag waving. Just imagine for a moment that you discover a company that makes these that you like. If you're American, you might be interested in American-made, American manufacturers. So maybe there's an American company that has good financials. It looks like a good sound company that makes these and weaves them and sews them together. And maybe they have a patent on this plastic part that clips in and et cetera. And then they distribute them all throughout the U.S. and the world. You might, as an individual, decide, hey, that's a good company. I'm going to invest in them. And if you've got some money, you could go through any type of account, an IRA, 401k, it doesn't really matter. You could invest in that company. A savvy investor, and what we used to refer to as stockbrokers, back when stockbrokers were fairly common, somebody would step in and look at that company They would evaluate all the fundamentals, everything they could find on it. If it had good management structure, if they owned patents, if they had good consistent tax filings, if they had good earnings and earnings potential, who their competitors were, if they also made other products, the research and development arms of the company, you name it, you pick through and find the very best information possible before investing your money in that company. Because, of course, you want a good company with a good product, but you also want to try to feel that you've done your due diligence. ESG, as I mentioned, again, that stands for environmental, social, and governance, is a completely different metric. Instead of evaluating a company on all of those merits, what are referred to as the fundamentals, what ESG does is instructs managers to invest in companies that rate highly on a scale of those three things: environmental, social, and governance. That means the diversity, equity, and inclusion. It means whether or not they have a carbon footprint that fits with whatever the current definition is, etc. And there's a key example that I use to illustrate the dangers of thinking that way. If it looks really good to sort of the Green New Deal type, it may not actually be anything worth investing in. So there's a company called Solyndra Energy that was a California-based company. They made great waves, a lot of draw of investor money, and some managers, I believe, invested in them. Well, they ended up going belly up, owing about $500 million. They just soaked up money, and ultimately, my understanding is that they didn't really have a product and didn't amount to anything. Those are the sorts of things that somebody looking at the fundamentals of the company would have discovered or should have discovered, but people looking at sort of through rose-colored glasses, looking at the ESG component and this promise of exciting green new energy, might pump money into. That's happening right now. The whole ESG thing is happening, and the chances are almost certain, if you're an investor, that it's happening to you. There are managers out there, and they're being sort of picked apart slowly. The public awareness of what's happening with these managers is starting to come online. But those managers are really now being told not to look at the fundamentals and not to consider the worth and merits of the company, but whether or not they are doing well on that ESG scale. So at UnWoke Investing, we are taking the spotlight and putting it on those managers to highlight what I call malfeasance. It is, in my book, everything that I'm seeing, their duty to the individual, to the investor, to the trust, endowment, foundation, whoever their clients are, I believe is being ignored in favor of all this green new stuff. And for you, the individual investor, they may be putting money into companies and things that you may not agree with, like pharmaceutical. It sort of ties in with this whole take back the reins. So take a look at UnWoke Investing. We're on most of the social media platforms. We have a website. We're publishing like crazy. We're putting all kinds of information and reports out there. Parse through, grab it, share it with friends, share it with your financial advisor, your accountant, whoever. As I said, it's free and open source. If you want to work with us directly, there is an option to pay. We'd be thankful. Not necessary, but we would love to have some clients come to us if we can help walk you through it step by step. So that's what we're offering. We'll actually help and stand side by side, we'll hold your hand and walk you through those steps of getting UnWoke investments into your IRA, your 401k, your brokerage account, wherever your investment dollars are. So either run with it on your own to whatever extent you're comfortable, whatever percentage of your portfolio you want to get out of woke, or even if you just migrate out of the really extremely far left woke We want to put the spotlight on what's happening in your portfolio and help, because together we can defund the woke, which I think cuts the head off the snake. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more info from UnWoke Investing.